is your emergency broadcast system.
You are listening to the hashtag Biz with the Beard podcast. Business as you never heard before. Now, belt up and shut up. It's going to be a bumpy, flipping ride.
May God be with you all.
Welcome, friends, once again to the show where we say what we want to say. This is another episode of the business podcast that is authentic, shameless, unapologetic, and raw. This is the hashtag Biz with the Beard podcast, business as you've never heard before. And I am your host, the guy, despite popular opinion, believes in the science. And the science says bearded men are happier, healthier, manlier, and better looking than bald-faced men. I am the Beard Curfy Smith. But in all seriousness, I wanted to give a shout out like I do every week, and a very sincere shout out to all of our listeners and now viewers. I'm truly appreciative of all of your support, and it's been just kind of humbling to, see so many people tuning in, the thousands of listeners that we have, to hear what we have to say, listen to our guests. The whole show's point was originally just to get entrepreneurs, leaders in their industry, and let them, come on and tell their story and kind of help people with their business and their personal life as well. And if you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe on one of our many platforms that are out there, or one of the many platforms that are out there, not my platforms. I wish I owned Apple, but the platform we're on are like Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and any other platform that's possibly out there. We're probably on there. And if you're out there, please give us a good rating, 5 stars, much appreciated. And remind all your friends and connections on all your social media to listen and subscribe as well. And like you just heard, and I just said, I did use the term viewers, and now we have a new YouTube page. It's just getting going. We really haven't done much with it, but you can watch this show in its entirety and previous shows on YouTube as well. So go to your YouTube channel, subscribe there, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share with all your friends. Now, today's guest is an extremely busy individual. I'm going to just tell you that. She is the owner / chief lizard of Neon Lizard Creative Marketing and Design. She's also the head lizard at Neon Lizard Creative Graphic Design and Catalogs. And on top of that, she's a volunteer marketing director at Women Entrepreneurs of Minnesota. Boys and girls, I'm pleased to have on the show from the great state of Minnesota, the very talented creative and branding expert, Rebecca Rausch. Rebecca, welcome to the hashtag Biz with the Beard podcast.
Well, thank you. I'm feeling a little naked here. I might need to work on that, make sure I get a beard one of these days. I want to be cool like you. Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know how cool it really makes me, but I just have to hide my double chin. That's why. So, but I got to ask you, talk about being cool, and not, let's get off the beards, but being truly cool. What is with the lizard stuff? I mean, how did the lizard become kind of like this cornerstone of you and your business? Is there a good story here? I mean, I want to know.
Well, of course.
Did you get that? Cool. Did you get that? I want to know, right?
You're so funny.
Okay. I know. Some people should say I should be a stand-up chameleon.
Oh, see, there you go. You've already.
There I go. I'll stop.
No, that's it.
So tell me, what's the story behind this?
Well, you already said it. It's chameleon. I was a designer. As a designer, I'm a little ADHD, so I tend to get bored very quickly. And so I like to do different kinds of design. It's boring if you do one style of design all the time. So I like to do different things. I like to do websites. I like to do medical. I like to do pretty things. I like to do manly things. I like to design in all different ways. So I saw myself as a chameleon, but it's too hard to say.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with lizard. And my girlfriend and I sat around drinking wine one night and went through all the colors, and most of them sounded kind of naughty. So we went with neon.
Neon, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I've been that way since 1998.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Since 1988? Holy cow.
1998.
Oh, 90. Okay, I was like 88. Jeez. That's really a long time ago. I was like, how is that even possible? Even 98. That's a long time ago. So, I mean, that's,
I know.
that's over 20 years. So, ups and downs kind of, I wasn't really going to ask you this,
yeah.
but tell me about this, the ups and downs at the beginning. How long did it really take for your company to get going, and when did you finally kind of get your stride?
I got lucky, dude. I got lucky. I had graduated high school at 16, college by 20, had my first creative director position at 23.
Stop,
What?
stop, stop,
What?
stop, 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 stop. You
What?
graduated high school at 16?
Yeah,
So how many years were you in high school? Like 2 years, 3 years?
three.
Was it
Yeah.
was it your ADD or is it ADD or ADHD?
A little bit. I got bored at home, so
I can't do this. I got to get out of here. I'm just like get in and get
I
out.
just kind of did that. Yeah, just kind of got through, and kind of did the same thing for college, because it's supposed to be a 5-year degree. I got it in 4,
Wow.
and I've always been kind of an overachiever in that respect. So anyway, now I'm all lost. You got me all confused. Okay, anyway, so I graduated, got my first position, started all sorts of different companies because I wasn't sure what kind of design I wanted to do. And so I worked at corporations, at sign shops, at galleries, all sorts of different places to find out what I really loved. And I ended up with branding and wanting to do that. And, I kind of was inspired to do that from Darren Stevens on Bewitched. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember old Darren, right?
Yeah, that's what he was. But now I'm kind of Larry Tate. I'm not really, I'm not as much a Darren as I am Larry now. But yeah, I got into it. And in 1998, I was working for a company. I can talk about them because they're gone now. But my boss was out drinking all the time, and I was running the show completely. And I thought, you know what? Why am I getting paid
You're an
20 bucks an hour?
overachiever. Hell yeah, he had a great hire. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. I think everybody I work for kind of said that. So I decided to break out on my own, and I was lucky enough that I'd been so many places. I had a lot of contacts, and one of my first contacts one of my best friends was a artist at Capital One. So Capital One became a client. PetSmart became a client because I met some chick at a kickball game for my daughter, and ended up working for PetSmart corporate for years as a supplemental designer, and just kind of grew and grew and grew. I stopped for a few years to homeschool and got back into it about 6 years ago. And it's gone from just little old me to now there's about 9 of us.
Nice.
And we're just
Fantastic.
doing it all over the world. It's awesome.
That's awesome. That's great. How do you think that? So I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody about my business, and I do, a lot of outsourcing and consulting, and we do a lot of, outsourced services as well. And I think prior to the pandemic, it was a struggle for a lot of business to outsource some of the services that we offer, because they just had that old style mentality of, you got to be in the seat here in the office. I got to see you walk in, blah, blah, blah. I want to go around the corner and see you're sitting there, pretending to bang away at your laptop or what have you. And then the pandemic hit, and then my businesses started taking off, because I think people said, wow, you know what? Actually, we can be more productive, and then I can be more effective. And why not have these guys do this? Because they could probably do it better. So have you seen that happen with you guys much? Or is it picked up since the pandemic? Or
well, the remote was no big deal for us because we've always been remote. It was me by myself for the longest time. And then I ended up hunting this guy down on Behance, and I basically stalk people on Behance until they work for me. So I make sure to get the top talent. And he came and worked for me, and we grew so fast that we tripled size in 1 year. And I ended up hiring our project coordinator, who keeps me tethered to the ground and I don't go off into space. And from there, we just have grown and grown and grown, and it's been fantastic. But yeah, the remote did not affect us at all for 2020. 2021, people are a little bit hesitant to spend money, but it's starting to come back, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, we're starting to see that too. Yeah, we've had a good month so far. Well, before we started jumping in, I kind of went off the rails a little bit, because I do the weekly beard fact every show. And did you know beards were once prescribed? I mean, it was an actual prescription by, I guess, doctors, if you want to call them. But in the Victorian era,
Oh, really?
yeah, the doctors prescribed beards as a way to prevent illness. They believed that back in those days that a thick beard could act as a filter that could help trap harmful particles before they entered the body and the mouth. And
it's all those crumbs they saw.
Yeah, exactly right. Men were encouraged by the doctors to grow beard, which
Must be good.
It kind of upsets me that Dr. Fauci never really said anything for the past year. He should have. It's kind of, but you're right. So beards don't only just collect stray food; they help filter the air. So they thought. So,
Well, you need a puffier one around your nostrils. That'll help.
Yeah, right. But no, God.
You're not
So,
like that.
but yeah, I'm upset Dr. Fauci never mentioned that. You really can wear cheetah
We'll
mask.
write him a letter.
Yeah, right. Cheetah mask. But I get it. So, Rebecca, let's get down to business. I mean, you kind of talked about what moved you in this direction, right? Tell me and my audience about this heart principle that I read about and I see. And I've read a little bit about it. Why it seems kind of unique. It's a unique perspective and a little bit, it's almost like a mindset. Tell me about that and, how's that fit into your business?
Well, we've kind of evolved over the years. And one of the things that we have decided is that if you're a brand, if you're a business, you have a responsibility. You are a leader in your community, correct? So it is your responsibility to do something that is a stand or leads other people to a more positive place. So making a social impact, correct? So in that respect, we noticed that our clients were so happy because we did little tiny things with them. And it doesn't mean you have to have a monster stand. I'm against sex trafficking or anything like that, or I give all my money to so-and-so charity. It can be just the small things that you do each day. So the Heart Principle is a series of activities. We're going to be coming out with a book on it here coming up. We'll have 2 books. One is on foundational branding, and then adding Heart Principle on top of that makes your brand absolutely phenomenal. But it's taking the letters of HEART, and each letter means certain things, such as help first, hear, be human, honor. E might be energy, empathy, enthusiasm, efficiency. So it goes on and on for each of the 5 letters. There's 5 things for each letter, and then we're going to break out how to do that. So you can apply those things to your business. One of the ways that we do that is, let's say, repurposing. Okay. Right? So you've hired somebody to do your design, and they say, okay, great, I'll do that, and they walk away. That's a transaction, right? But if you're smart and you're efficient and you really look at things from the foundational brand and look long-term, then you look at that and you say, oh, well, that is the same proportion as let's say they ask for a banner. That's the same proportion as a Facebook header. Mm-hmm. I'll do it large first, reduce it down, takes 2 seconds. Now you have this, and now you've got 2 things for the price of 1. So things like that are giving back to my clients because they're not having to pay as much. And as a result, they're happier, right? Yep. So it's a very small thing on my end, but for them, it's a big thing. And if you position your brand around that kind of generosity, I think people pay it forward, unconsciously.
Yeah, no.
So that's kind of what it's about. We build our brands to do that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think the businesses are going to be successful, coming up, and the businesses that are being successful now are looking, you made mention earlier, help, right? Help first, and if you approach your business and to your clients that you're helping them, rather than transaction, as you may mention, it'll be much more fruitful and relationship, not just for them but also for you as well, and more of a long-term relationship. And there's many times I've looked at clients and I've had opportunities for a transaction. I thought, hey, we can make some money off this, but I just didn't feel right about it. I didn't think it would actually help them, And so, and I've come out and said, listen, yes, we can do this. I'm listening to your thoughts on this particular transaction, and we can fulfill this for you. I don't think it'll be successful. Therefore, I don't think it's going to help you. And you're going to, neither one of us is going to be happy, and it's going to jeopardize everything else. So I'm not going to recommend we do this because, yes, heck, I'll take 12 grand, but it's not going to, but it's not going to help you. So I just want to be honest about it. And I think people appreciate that. Right.
Right. And what helps even more is if you can't do it yourself or you're not the best fit, then you find somebody who is and help them that way. And so we do a lot of that.
Yeah. We do a lot of social media marketing and digital and SEO, what have you. And there was one recently, we had a big proposal, and it was a guy that owned 2 companies, and one company actually had a really nice website, a lot of broken stuff on the back. We could do a lot of the technical stuff, not just artistic stuff, but a lot of the technical stuff on the back end. And then his other website was just horrendous. And we looked at it and we're like, you know what, we could do the social media management and all this other stuff. It ain't gonna matter because when you try to come back, it's just, you need a new website, and we could probably design it for you, but I don't feel comfortable in doing that because, I've personally never led a website design project. And, and he says, wow, he goes, first of all, he says, Kirk, let me tell you, your marketing and SEO approach presentation to us was just a home run. You nailed out of the park. And I appreciated your honesty. And that's why we're going to go with you. I was just like, but it goes back to, we help them. Right. And I just love that part of this heart. That's just a great perspective. Thanks for sharing that.
We're going to have a poster out soon on 110 things you can do to spread love that are all for businesses, things that you can do in your business as a business to share love, share, just be generous and giving in order to make the world a better place. So that's kind of one of our.
Come from? Is there like a unique time in your life or event that, help mold this heart principle in your mind, or?
Oh my goodness.
Am I getting too personal?
I haven't been asked that one. That's pretty good. I've done like 12 podcasts here, right? Like I haven't been asked that one.
Because we do our work here. We're not like any of those other
I tell you.
podcasts, right? Yeah.
I think a lot of it just comes from the amount of people that have helped us. I mean, we would not be where we are today if it wasn't for the incubator community we were in, that our county does. And that was amazing. Scott County gave us mentors, subsidized space, education. I mean, just so many opportunities and connections. And the least we can do is give back. And just seeing that and having, our own lives and things that we've done and how much it's just a value that we have. And we believe in living our values. And I think your brand should live your values. We call it living the brand style.
Yeah.
Because I think every brand needs to have that foundation that is based on those values, based on that messaging, based on those core elements before you do anything else. Because when you have that, then everything else becomes easy. So like the gentleman you were talking about that had a bad website, he got his cart before the horse. Yeah. You got to get the other stuff done first, and then the rest of it just falls together beautifully. And then it's easier to market too, because you have this wonderful thing to market, right? Yeah. You can take chunks of it and put it out there and people want to consume it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and you touched on it a little bit here. I want to dive into it a little bit more, is how important is culture to brand? When you go out into a client or potential client, is that something you guys really look at, and how much do you push that?
Well, for us, if they are not a good fit, if our values do not align, they're not going to be the client I can best serve. I don't really believe in, I know it sounds awful. People get mad at me when I say it, but no. I don't like the terms avatar. I don't like persona. I don't like all of that are jargon words that are used to try to sound smart, I feel like. And I know the demographics are right. Yeah, I know. And the demographic information is important, but what I tell people is step back. Look at the clients that you're tickled to death when they call. When they call, you go, hey, dude, hey, how you doing? You're excited to talk to them. They pay on time. They listen to you. They ask you, what do I need? As opposed to, here's what I want. Mm-hmm. Those are the clients you can best serve because you can knock it out of the park for them. What you provide is perfect for what their problem is and what their challenge is. If you just take anybody coming down the pike that meets the criteria, you're not going to be as successful and you're not going to be as happy because you're going to have those people that don't align with your thought process.
How long did it take you to get to that mindset? Because I think everybody starts
an old goat,
business. Hun. What's that?
I'm an old goat. I've been around.
Yeah,
I had the school teaching me.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people, especially who start their own businesses, and I did when I did mine, right? You're out there like, you go from making a big 6-figure job. Now you're on your own making zero from scratch, right? And it's difficult, I think, to say no, right? When someone comes there. And now, as I've grown and evolved, I realize that was a huge, huge mistake. And that it's okay to say no. It's okay not just to fire a client, but to fire a prospect. Just to say, you know what? I'm not interested in working with you. And I think that approach, people look at me and go, man, Kirk, that's a little brash. But I mean, if you go to my website, I'm very honest about it. I say, hey, check your ego at the door, man. If you want to hire me to do what you want to do, I'm not interested. But if you're going to put your ego at the door and self-assess and be aware of, hey, you know what? I've been failing. I need help. I want to hear what you got to say. Help me build this roadmap, right? Help me get there. Okay, I'll work with that. But, I'm not going to come in there and say, hey, and just, be an order taker for you. That's not going to work. So
Right. Transactional is not transformational.
no. Hey, I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that. You don't have
Well,
that
there's
coin.
another
You
one.
don't have that coin, do you? You got another one? Give me another
Yeah,
one.
I got another one. I got this one from, I think it was Neil Gordon. He and I were talking one day, and it was the deeper the relationship, the more prosperous the client.
Yeah.
And I really like that too. It's a nice short way of saying it, that people joke about, or not really joke, people tout the relationship, the authenticity. They're all this, that, and the other. And a lot of times they're just being truthful. They're not really being authentic. They're not being vulnerable. They're not letting their ugly sides show at all, in the sense of, what they're not perfect at. I'll tell people right away, oh, that's not my gig. I'm not really that kind of a gal, but I know this guy over here, and I can make sure it happens, and I can oversee it and make sure he takes good care of you, because that's the end result. I mean, that's what anybody wants, is somebody to be on their side, be their cheerleader and advocate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was scrolling through your stuff. You got a great client portfolio.
Thank you.
And some great testimonials. Yeah.
Got a lot of those.
Yeah. But there's a term I see there, and I got to know about it. And you kind of referred to it earlier. Giddy clients. What is a giddy client? You're making me giddy just saying the word giddy. Like, I smile when I say giddy.
I know. Isn't it a great word?
Yeah, right. Is that why you do it? Because it just makes people smile. Look at, see, I say it and I can't stop smiling.
See, you can't say giddy without smiling.
Giddy clients.
But it goes back down to the generosity and the commitment to making sure that they're happy. So it's more, back in the South, we would say you give them a baker's dozen. A baker's dozen is 13 eggs as opposed to 12 eggs. So they expect 12 eggs or 12, they expect one thing, and you make sure to give them a little bit more. And when you give them a little bit more and you have all this generosity, and you're sending them articles of things about their cat, or you're, inviting them to do things. Or we had a client that was an old folks home, it's a dementia care. And she and I talked at the very, very beginning, and she commented how dementia patients don't know the difference between a doll and a real baby, because their mind just can't connect. The neural processors just aren't connected anymore. And so when they did their grand opening, we had a real life looking baby. It was the most realistic thing you've ever seen, made, and gave it to them as their grand opening gift. And she just cried. She's like, that means so much that you heard that. And that's the kind of thing you listen for. So one of our tenets is listening, but there's like 4 parts to the listening.
Yes.
To make sure that you're keeping notes, and you can't remember everything. And a lot of people will say, oh, I've got 700 clients. I can't do that. Well, sure you can. It may not be a handmade baby, but it could be a really great article or a useful tool that you can send out to your clients that they're going to value. So it's just adding value time and time and time again makes people more than happy. So it's
I absolutely agree. And I think that's very key, especially when it comes to sales, is, how do you add value, and everyone else is calling on them? And the key is not to fall down that path of asking the same stupid questions, that every other salesperson is coming in there and trying to get, and getting in that apples to apples comparison, trying to dig in. And what I called, living down here in Georgia, is, get out of the apples to apples and find the peach, find that one thing that's going to differentiate you, that showed, like you just said, you listened to what they said, and and you sell that. It might not be the the main objective, but it will lead to a longer relationship. When I was a CFO of this large corporation, we were trying to do this new shipping agreement, right? And one of the objectives was to create this program to where it would help my sales team sell more, because we could put more on a pallet and it wouldn't cost our clients any more to ship it, right? So I can stack 2 feet worth of product or 6 feet worth of product on a pallet. It's still going to cost you the same thing. And what that did was eliminate some of our competition in the more regional areas where some of these clients were, right? And so I needed a flat rate shipping program to pitch to my clients. So I went into like 10 different shippers, and they all come back, and about 70% of them didn't listen to what I said. They all came back with pricing. And I said, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Pricing's not my objective. My objective is to get a flat rate shipping program, because I want to help my salespeople. This does nothing for me. And they didn't get the deal. And the fact is, I went with someone that was probably a little bit more expensive from a profit, but I generated more revenue, which made up for that, hands over fist after a couple months. But again, it's going back to listening to what people have to say. And again, like finding the peach, that's what I say. So
We have a client that's an automotive client. He started his whole business during COVID, and he came to us. He was a referral, and he's like, "Okay, I got this much money. What can we get done?" I'm like, "Okay, you trust me?" And he's like, "Absolutely. Let's just do it." And I'm like, "Okay." So we talked and did the marketing strategy meeting, and it turns out he mentioned in passing. He said, "Yeah, I'm doing this, and I'm building this company because I want to leave a legacy for my son. He's into cars as much as I am." And the cars he deals with are Audis, BMWs. They're the top of the line cars. Who buys those cars generally? Most of the time it's the wife who wants those.
Yeah.
So it's like that is going to resonate so well. So we led with that. He's going to pull $1 million this year.
Wow.
COVID did not. He did great. He's already ready looking at 4-bay instead of 2-bay. He is just knocking it out of the park. And I think it's because we used that, and we used also he will come to your home and do your mechanics, whatever you need, as long as he can. It doesn't need a lift. So things like that are differentiators that nobody else does. The fact that he popped onto the market looking like he had been around for 15 years. Those are really smart business moves that a lot of companies don't think to do. They go out there and pop out a logo and brand it on everything and slap it on everything they can and say, "Oh, I'm branded." No, you're not.
No.
You just branded a bunch of cows. That's all. So
right.
you did not do it.
Well, let's talk about what's the one major reoccurring mistake businesses make when it comes to their brand.
Well, I think it's putting the cart before the horse, as they say. It's they think they got to get the logo on the website. That's the first thing that's got to get done. And they don't stop and they don't go back and try to build a foundational brand. When my book comes out, I've decided to break up my information into book 1, foundational brand. Book 2 is the heart principle. And I think I told you the story of the grandma's rolls, but we can do that another time. But it's just so critical to know all that detail information of your values and your positioning and your differentiators and all of that before you put mouse to screen, for that logo. You've got to know all that because the logo is just an icon. It's an ambassador of your brand.
Right.
It is not your brand. Your brand is, and everybody says, "Oh, your brand is more than just the logo." It's more than that. It's even more than what you think it is, because your brand is how the delivery driver drives on the street. Your brand is how the lady answers the phone. Your brand is how you handle disgruntlement. It is everything. I tell a story of I wanted to go to, I was looking for a church to attend, and I found a church that seemed kind of great, but when I clicked around, the pastor had pictures of himself all over the place, and his Mr. Beefy dude that was taking, half naked pictures of himself with little kids, and there was a narcissism there, and and it just wasn't proper for what his brand should have been.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, "Bud, you need to think twice about that one." And I don't think people look about their personal stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because people look everywhere.
Yeah, they do. Well, it's funny because we're talking about brands. Because my first thing was to grow a beard, which I think was great. I'm joking, but no, but I brought this up. I just recently. You'll believe how my beard is my brand now. It is funny. So it's not the way it started. My lizard. Yeah, right. It's like
it's not as colorful.
And but I had people tell me when I first started my consulting company and outsourced company, like, "Kirk, you got to get rid of the beard." I said, "Why?" And they said, it's not. People aren't going to like that. And I actually considered. Then I started thinking, you know what? Screw that. If they don't like it, that's not someone I want to work with. And I have gotten more business from the beard than not. Again, maybe, I don't know. But I got one good story where I was at a restaurant, went to eat, went right up to the bar to go grab a drink. And as I was sitting at the bar waiting for my drink, the guy next to me and his wife, he looks over and goes, "Man, that is a great beard, dude." And I said, "Thank you." And he goes, "What do you do?" And so we just talked for a couple minutes. And then he goes, "Oh my gosh." He goes, "I need to talk to you. I've got this app." And I hear ideas all the time, Rebecca, all the time. And, a lot of it's, okay, it's just an idea, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing probably we can do with help you. And he goes, "No, it's actually on the Google Play Store already." I go, "Really?" I go, "Pull it up." He shows me. He goes, "I don't know what to do with it." He goes, "You're the guy I need to talk to." And lo and behold, I had a new client, was looking for a specific app that did what his app did. and we synergized, came together, and this thing is just taking off. And
Crazy.
long story short, it goes back to the beard. So if I would have shaved it off, it never would have happened. So there we go. That's my
There
point.
you go. That's great. The lizard brings a lot of people in. I actually had a gentleman. We had been in a training class, one of those self-development training things, back in 1996 together. We got a call from him last year. He remembered my name when I went out and did my own thing. I've since moved from Arizona to here, and he remembered Neon Lizard 20 years later. And called us, and now we're doing all his stuff down in Arizona.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I
think having that special something is always
and owning it, right, and not apologize, and don't be
I was worried my lizard was going to be too colorful, too silly looking for people, but it's a big draw. It's a lot of fun, and it means a lot to us. I mean, it has a lot of different meanings, so we like that.
What piece of advice, free advice, all right, I'm gonna ask for something free. What is one thing that all businesses need to do today without hiring a branding or marketing company that will help them attract new clients? What's one thing that they can do? The first thing you
build authority. Build authority.
What do you mean by that?
Through blogging, podcasting, being a guest on podcasts, writing white papers, anything of that nature that says, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm good at what I do, and this is why you should hire me. I think that's important for any business, and regardless of what you sell or do. If you are able and have the financial ability to, jump into any of the new technology, that might be a good idea. I've got a gentleman that I'm working with right now who does the VR, where you can take visual, it does it like a hologram in your living room, and you can walk around. It is just amazing. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Fabulous. They have other ones too where they.
I want to check that out. That's cool.
Yeah, there's another one that comes out in front of your computer screen. You can like turn a heart around and look at all the parts of it, and they're using it for the medical schools. Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
We're this far from Star Trek, babe.
I'm not a Star Trek fan. I was a Star Wars fan, so.
I like them all.
You like? Are you a big sci-fi person?
Not huge, but I mean, yeah, I always love Star Trek, and I mean, it just blows my mind still to this day that we're flipping phones open, or not even flipping phones.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't flip phones anymore. That's what blows my mind, how that's, this little phone, it does so much.
You do so much. I know that would have been 2 rooms of computer equipment back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even phones anymore.
We're telling our age. You realize that. We're showing how we're old.
I know. I'm getting up there. Unfortunately, the color of my beard and hair shows my age really well. But that's another story.
Oh, it's distinguished.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. I just need to grow up, I think.
We do.
Well, hey, what other piece of advice? Any other piece of advice before we end today's show? Because I really, I mean, is there anything you want to get off your chest that you say, hey, I didn't get to talk about?
I need to get off my chest. Quit putting your Dad Burn logo out there before you've really thought it through. That just makes me nuts.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. It's really, if anybody wants, I'll be happy to send them a marketing strategy sheet or something like that if they want to look at that and, help figure out what their messaging is. I'll send it to you. You can put it in the show notes and that kind of stuff. Because people need to know what they're doing before they get out there and do it. A lot of times I think our vision is bigger. We don't think through our vision a lot of times. And that's kind of what you need to do before you start doing your logo.
Absolutely. And I think so many people waste so much time on their logo and the name of the company, and they just, but then they forget everything else. And just like you said, the brand is actually the experience, right? I mean, look at some of the biggest brands. They all give you an experience, right? Disney World, right? Have you ever gone through their little training of the Disney experience? I mean, you want to talk about getting stuff down to a science. They know everything. And that's one thing you go to Disney World, it's so clean, right? You know why it's so clean? It's because they've done the studies that show people walk a certain distance before they throw food or garbage on the ground. So they have a garbage can that exact length everywhere in the park.
I didn't know that.
That's an experience, right? And like you said, understanding your customers' touch points. Every time they interact with you, and what is said, and what do they see, what do they smell, just everything, right? That's the brand. Am I right or wrong? Or
you are absolutely 100% right. You have to dig deep.
And get some things right.
The client you can best serve, not just demographics. Demographics narrows the pool. Find out who it is that you can rock their world.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so before I end today's show, I have to play a little game called Get to Know Rebecca. I don't know if you've listened to the show before, so yeah, I'm throwing you into this. So are you okay that we go ahead with this? All right, here's the rules. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and you have to say the first answer that comes to your mind as fast as you can.
Oh gosh, I'm probably going to be naughty. Go ahead.
These are the questions. No, I'm not going to be. I'm going to be nice. Well, and we do have a parental advisory sticker on the show, so don't worry. If you do slip up, we're good. We're not going to get in trouble by anybody. So, favorite toy growing up?
Barbies and GI Joes together.
Together. So did you have the GI Joe
hijacked the Barbie plane? GI Joe hijacked the Barbie plane.
Oh really? Was that a common, like, oh my gosh, that's kind of like violent.
I don't know. I was a little sick as a kid.
If you could pick a new name for yourself, what would it be?
Delaney.
Delaney. Why Delaney?
I don't know. I wanted to name my daughter that, but I got outvoted.
Who'd you get outvoted for or by?
Oh, well, we ended up with a Haley, but
How do you get outvoted?
I wanted
to does all the work. You should have the trump card, right?
Well, I had my son and my husband, so.
Okay. What is your worst habit?
Oh, my worst habit? Not taking time for me.
Yeah,
I do nothing but work.
I agree. I have evolved the last couple of years. I've changed that. And it's not a lot, but I do take every week I take about and get 2 hours to myself.
And I'm not doing that. I'm not
cigar,
even doing that on weekends.
Sip my bourbon and call it a day. But yeah. Probably not the best habit, but but I have to meet my objectives though. So, I don't get to do that.
But do you have the cigar? Are you doing the cigar as well? You got to have the whole persona.
Oh yeah, I do the cigar and the bourbon. Yeah. Just one. That's it. It's not. I don't smoke every day.
Who's the comedian that does that on stage? The comedian that does that. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, is it Ron White? Is that guy?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think he's
Ron White.
Yeah, no. I think he is. He takes a little. I think he'll have a cigar and bourbon no matter what. I have. It's my. I have 1 glass of bourbon and one cigar every week. So.
Okay.
All right. Have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction?
Have I ever had a wardrobe? That's a bizarre question.
Right.
Let me think. Oh, I'm sure I have. I think probably the best story regarding anything like that is when I was in Arizona. I used to rollerblade, and I would rollerblade for 12, 13 miles.
Oh wow.
And they had these sidewalks that would go underneath the bridges, and underneath the bridges it was serrated concrete because that's where the canals would overflow into and such. And I was coming home one day, and it was about 8 o'clock at night. I was tired, and I went down that hill to cross that serration, and I fell.
Oh wow.
And I fell on my bum, and I slid about 6 feet and ripped my entire tush off.
Oh my goodness. And
I was still a mile from home, and my wheels were crooked, and I hobbled home with my
no backside, huh?
And my tail sticking out. So I think that probably qualifies. And then to beat all, you can't exactly Band-Aid that. So it was a constant issue for a while. I ended up with puppy pads taped to my tail end. So, that's probably the best.
I like that one. I think that's probably the best word malfunction I've heard so far. So that's a good
it was horrible.
Oh yeah.
I had people honking at me. I got blood running down my leg. It was just so ugly. And that wasn't the first time I felt like that. So that's more the cluds.
Who or where would you haunt if you were a ghost?
Who or where would I haunt? Yeah. Could I be a mean ghost or a nice ghost?
I think haunting means mean, right? If you want to be a mean ghost, you'd be a mean ghost.
Oh, I'd be my ex-husband for sure.
Good one.
For sure.
That'd definitely be my ex. And I would be me. We'll move on.
We'll go together. We'll go together and just haunt everybody we don't like.
All right, there we go. I got a list. What as seen on TV product have you bought or wanted to buy?
Oh gosh, Do you have how much time do you have?
Do you have a lot? Is that did I just
I'm a
hit it? Did I hit
sucker.
it? Did I hit a guilty pleasure? I like this.
I am a sucker. My latest one was my airbrush makeup.
Your what?
It's an airbrush makeup thing. That's the latest one I bought.
So you like spray like makeup on your face?
Yeah, you put makeup in this little I don't know, a little well, I guess.
I think I've seen
and
that.
it airbrushes on your face and it gives you a nice smooth appearance. That's why I look so young and youthful, you see.
So you use it, huh?
Yeah, I used it this month.
Awesome. So that's good though, because it works and you actually use it. I've seen people when they just buy stuff and it sits in their closet and never use it. So.
No, I use things. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But
so the next question is gonna be a good one because you've been to Arizona, grew up in Tennessee, live in Minnesota.
I lived in San Francisco for a while too.
Okay, so this is gonna be a really good one. Mountains or beaches?
Mountain.
Yeah. Why is that?
Mountain. Just I grew up in the Smokies. I love the beaches, but I wouldn't live there.
Yeah, I'm gonna head up to Blue Ridge here on the 4th of July. So about you know where that's at, right?
I love my Smokies.
Yeah. Who's your celebrity crush? Besides the host of the guy with the what's that?
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. All right. I like that. I love. You know why? It's funny you bring that up. Have you heard my show before? Have you listened to the show?
I listened to a couple podcasts, but I don't remember which.
So you don't make me bringing up Matthew McConaughey before? I bring it up a couple times.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I heard that one.
No. So
I listen.
I got that app, right? That what's that app? Or you listen to like stories or like sound.
Audible.
Not Audible. What is it? Here, I'm gonna pull up.
Clubhouse?
No. What is this stupid app that I have? Calm, the Calm app. You ever heard that? Yeah, I got that, and it's got like stories, and it's read by certain people with like unique voices. And my man crush is Matthew McConaughey. He puts me to sleep every night. I listen to him.
That's just weird.
Right? I know. And I shouldn't probably admit it, but he tells the story Wonder, and I don't think I've ever heard the full story. I can listen to his voice.
I bought his book. I bought his Audible book, but I haven't listened to it yet.
No.
That's too funny.
Fantastic.
I should do that because my husband was telling me about Matthew McConaughey the other day, and it was not exactly the most appropriate conversation. But, I think that'd be pretty funny if he came in and I was listening to Matthew McConaughey.
Right. That is hilarious. What is a saying you say a lot? Like, what is your term or word that you get caught saying all the time?
I'm trying to think. Susan, what do you think? The mantra that I say I have is, if it is to be, it's up to me. Because back in the day, I realized, you know what, I was single at the time, and I was frustrated and I was angry, and I was like, you know what, I'm sick of being single. I'm sick of not having people to hang out with, and so I had been to this class, and I learned that if it is to be, it's up to me. And I went, okay, fine. And this was back when faxing was the thing, and I decided to create my own social group. And I faxed out 75 faxes every weekend, and
oh my gosh,
say,
that's
this
hilarious.
is where we're going, who's showing up, and I'm responsible for 2 other weddings. So
that is awesome.
by doing that.
That's a great story to end that game. I like that. That's a great story.
Yeah, you make your own future here. You just
exactly.
It is to be, it's up to me.
Exactly.
If I want it to change, I got to do it. Nobody's going to do it for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rebecca, thank you.
Thank
taking
you.
your time out of
This
your
was
busy
fun.
schedule, and coming on the show today. Thank you for sharing with your life, your experience, and definitely your knowledge. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it too. And when the book comes out, hopefully you'll let me come back and I can.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely have you back. Is there anything you want to bring up or plug besides the book before we end the show? Or
well, I mean, how to get in touch with me if that's okay.
Yeah, throw it up. Of course it's okay. Yeah.
neonlizardcreative.com.
neonlizardcreative.com.
Yep. Come check us out. Look at our stuff. Talk to us. Even if you don't want to hire us, I'll be happy to help you in any way I can. So
that's awesome. Well, There you have it, friends. The talented and branding expert, Rebecca Rausch. Rebecca, thank you for coming on the show. Truly appreciate it. And I really enjoyed it. It's been fun today.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much.
All right. I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform and leave a 5-star review. And as always, I'm grateful for all of our listeners and viewers all over the world. Do not forget that you can pick up our award-winning beard products called #Biz on my website, ACS and Wolfpack gear and other merchandise, and #Biz with the beard merchandise as well at acsexec.com. And there you have it. Another show is in the books, but never fear, the beard will always be here. And until next episode, same beard time, same beard channels. Thank you for listening to the hashtag Biz with the Beard podcast. Remember, every genius idea starts with the stroke of a beard. Have a successful day.